What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Intergalactic Brew. Uh, I wanted to do something. I know this is kind of like well beyond the fact, but I wanted to do a recap of UFC on Fox, Henderson versus Diaz. I really didn't get a chance after the event to really do a full review, so I want to go ahead and do one now. So without any further ado, here I go. First fight, get it out the way. Mike Swick versus Matt Brown. Matt Brown surprised me in this fight. I did not pick him to win this fight. You know, even though I should have known the golden rule in MMA is, you don't never underestimate anybody. I don't care how bad they've looked in the past, you know. So that was my mistake. I should have given Matt Brown a little bit more credit, but he did come out and surprise the world, so to speak. I think this is his first knockout victory he's gotten, if I'm not mistaken, because I think most of his finishes have been by submission. But yeah, I was very impressed nonetheless with Matt Brown. He came out and you know, just completely dominated Mike Swick for the most part. I mean, Mike Swick really couldn't get off any offense. I mean, he really couldn't you know, get set in his stance to really rattle off the striking. I mean, Matt Brown basically bullied him. I mean, pressed him up against the cage, got him in, got a little dirty boxing in, got some knees in the clinch, took him down a few times, got some submission attempts, just completely overwhelmed Mike Swick. And then basically in the second round, he basically finished it off with a beautiful right hand, dropped Mike Swick, and, you know, ended it with punches. So Matt Brown made a huge statement a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, that was it was unbelievable. That was probably Matt Brown's best performance ever. Hopefully Brown this time around, from that win, will not only gain more confidence, but he will actually be more consistent. You know, it'll be interesting to see where Matt Brown goes from here. Hopefully it's down a good path, and if that turns out to be true, then Matt Brown's going to be a serious contender in the welterweight division someday. But very good start though with the knockout though. Did not see that coming. I thought if Matt Brown was going to win this fight, I thought he was going to win it on the ground with a submission. His grappling is very, very good. Probably some of the most underrated grappling in the welterweight division. But yeah, I definitely thought Matt Brown would be able to submit Mike Swick, but did not see a knockout coming. Now, as far as Mike Swick is concerned, I know everybody's probably going to jump to the conclusion that, oh, Mike Swick is losing it and he might be at the end of his career. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what went on in training. We don't know if, you know, there was an injury or whatever. But apparently Mike Swick looked a little off in the fight. So hopefully he can rebound. You know, I mean, this is not like, you know, he's been on a consistent losing streak. You know, he recently beat DeMarcus Johnson, and you know, yeah. So it's not like Mike Swick, you know, has been on a back-to-back losing streak. This is just, you know, his first loss back. Hopefully he'll rebound and put on a better fight next time. Okay, next fight, and this is a fight that again really surprised me. BJ Penn versus Roy McDonald. You know, I think as far as like the triple main events, at least that's what I dubbed them as, the triple main events, I really think that it was really all about youth here. I think this was the theme going in. And I think this is really showing, especially on this card, that the new generation of MMA is really starting to arrive. But I just wanted to point that out. But anyway, Roy McDonald, BJ Penn. BJ was hanging in there, man. I mean, he got some good shots in. I definitely thought he would have the advantage standing up. BJ Penn probably has some of the best boxing in MMA. So I definitely thought that he would have the advantage striking-wise. But apparently Roy McDonald, ever since he's been training at the TriStar gym with GSP and Patrick Cote and all of those guys, apparently Roy McDonald has some new wrinkles in his arsenal. And they were certainly on display this night. You know, he showed stellar striking. I mean, he was landing kicks. His punches were crisp. He had good footwork. Although he did get a little cocky towards the end of the fight, you know, doing his little Muhammad Ali impression, you know, shuffling his feet and all that. I still think that's a mistake. Roy McDonald cannot do that against Carlos Condit, because he will get caught, no doubt. I'm not saying he couldn't get caught by BJ, but if he definitely does that against somebody, you know, just as young as he is, and somebody that's just as dangerous, if not more dangerous than he is, he's gonna get caught bad. But anyway, but yeah, Roy McDonald, like I said, he revealed some new things in his skill set. He was landing high kicks, like I said, good solid punches. He was stepping into his punches, like I said, using good footwork, really confusing BJ. BJ really couldn't keep up with Roy McDonald. You know, Roy McDonald was the faster fighter, which I thought he probably might be. BJ has never really been known for his speed. You know, he's mostly just a close the distance, you know, in your face type of guy. But he's very technical with his punches, though. You know, he just doesn't swing all wild for the fences. Like, you know, he lands the jab. You know, he has good combinations, good head movement himself. So BJ is no slouch when it comes to the boxing. But Roy McDonald was just a more versatile striker, and he was able to mix things up and confuse BJ. Although Roy McDonald was not able to take BJ down, he was able to wear on BJ. Again, kind of like how Matt Brown did with Mike Swick. You know, he pressed BJ up against the fence, dirty boxed him, landed knees, elbows, you know, just really pouring the pressure on BJ. And I really thought that if McDonald was able to do that, because he is a lot bigger than BJ is. So I felt that if Roy McDonald was able to pour the pressure on BJ and really impose himself on BJ, I thought that that would probably be the key for him winning this fight, because we've seen in the past that BJ really doesn't do too well against bigger opponents, a la GSP, you know. So I guess Roy McDonald kind of used that format that GSP did, and he just wore on BJ. And yeah, basically he dominated most of the fight. I mean, like I said, BJ had his moments, but he dominated most of the fight. So so yeah. So congratulations, Roy McDonald. It was a good win. I still don't think he needs to get ahead of himself, because you know, I'm not making any excuses, but it's true. You know, BJ is getting a little older. You know, he doesn't have the same pop in his step like he used to. So, but nonetheless, taking nothing away from Aries, McDonald did his thing, and he won in very dominant fashion. So, you know, congratulations. You know, Roy McDonald, I think, has officially arrived now. So there's no question about that. But good win, though. Good win. Again, going on with the youth trend. Mauricio Shogun Hua, Alexander Gustafsson. This was a very fun fight to watch. I think this was probably, other than the main event, I think these were the two best fights on the main card. Shogun did not look bad at all. Actually, Shogun was giving it to Gustafsson for the most part. I think Gustafsson kind of underestimated Hua a little bit. I think he thought that, you know, watching the Brandon Vera fight, which he probably did watch some film on, he probably thought that, you know, if he really came forward and started pressing Shogun, he thought Shogun would fold, but Hua did not back up 1 inch. I mean, he was standing right in there, landing shots. He actually rocked Gustafsson with a couple of overhand rights that nearly put Gustafsson down, but thank God Gustafsson's got a chin of steel, because if that would have been any other man, if he would have been any other man, I should say, he would have fell for real. But yeah, Hua looked good. Gustafsson kind of got off to a shaky start the first round, but towards the second and third round, he was able to get into his rhythm, and then he started pouring it on Shogun, landing shots. He rocked Shogun a couple of times, but Shogun is a one tough dude himself. He also has a chin of steel, so he was able to take the best of what Gustafsson was giving him. And by the way, after that first round, you know, Gustafsson finished off strong. You know, he was landing leg kicks, showed really good boxing. So, yeah, and it was pretty much a repeat of the same thing in the third round. But the third round, they turned it up a little bit more in the third round. You know, they were both swinging for the fences. They threw all the strategies out the window, and they just started getting after it, man. And that's what you like to see. You know, that's what makes the UFC as great as it is. You know, when you have you know, these battles, you know, these real intense battles, you know, especially against two accomplished strikers like Gustafsson and Hua. But in all, though, Gustafsson ends up getting the win by unanimous decision. Like I said, he was able to dominate for the most part, although Shogun did not look bad. So don't let the perception of this video be your reality. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the fight again. Shogun looked damn good. You know, he gave a hell of an effort, but, you know, it was just Gustafsson's night, you know. So there you have it. Let's see, Benson Henderson, Nate Diaz. Wow. I would probably say after the first round, that was probably the only time Diaz really got anything going, was the first round. But after that, it was all Henderson. I mean, he was taking him down with ease, I might add. And a lot of people did not think that Henderson was going to be able to take Diaz down. But you forget, Ben Henderson is a former wrestler, or he is a wrestler, but he's a former, what was he, state champion, I think, in wrestling. So he's very strong and has explosive takedowns. So I don't understand why anybody would want to downplay that. But anyway, I guess those are the non-knowledgeable MMA people. But anyway, yeah, Henderson was able to take Nate Diaz down with ease, and he just pretty much beat him up. You know, elbows, punches, whatever. I mean, now Diaz, he was able to get Henderson in some good positions, but he was not able to control him. Henderson escaped effortlessly from those those positions that Diaz had him in, and for the most part, Henderson was had the mount for most of this fight. That's why he was able to drop down, those punches and elbows. He was mostly on top of Nate Diaz for the most part. So that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, it was one point in the fight where he dropped Diaz bad with the right hand. I forget what round, but he dropped Diaz bad. I don't know what's happened to Diaz's chin. Like the Diaz brothers are known for having hard chins, man, and I guess Henderson just found the mark, so to speak, and he hit it, and Diaz dropped. But yeah, Henderson beat up Diaz for most of that fight. So good win for the champion. I think all the questions were answered. I think there's no doubt that Henderson is deserving of that title, and there's also no doubt that he is the ruler and the king of that division. So yeah, man, you can say what you want, you can think what you want, but the evidence is obvious. Ben Henderson is the ruler of the 155-pound division. Period. But overall, I think it was a good card overall. There was definitely some breakout performances. Rory McDonald, Alexander Gustafsson. I think both of those guys made a statement, and I think they made a case for being top contenders in their respective weight classes. I definitely think that Gustafsson will get a title shot in the future, as will McDonald. I know there's been talk lately about Gustafsson possibly being thrown into the Machida fight, but I think those rumors are erased. I think Dan Henderson will be fighting Lyoto Machida. Matter of fact, he will be fighting Lyoto Machida. My fault. What am I talking about? Yeah, Dan Henderson will be fighting Lyoto Machida. For a minute, they were talking about Gustafsson replacing Henderson because they didn't know if Henderson had fully healed from his ACL injury. So, but yeah, that's going to be a hell of a fight, Machida and Henderson. I'm sure Gustafsson, if one of those gentlemen were to lose that fight, maybe Gustafsson gets the loser of Henderson and Machida. Who knows? Maybe a rematch with Phil Davis. Who knows? But Alexander Gustafsson has definitely proven himself to become a top contender in the light heavyweight division. And as I mentioned earlier, Rory McDonald, he's got a fight coming up, a rematch to be exact, with the natural born killer Carlos Condit. So that should be very interesting. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of animosity and a lot of good build up to that fight. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's been my recap for UFC on Fox, Henderson versus Diaz. And until then, I'll see y'all on the flip side. 2 fingers.